Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with my WWE Raw review for this Monday, March the 10th, 2014. Of course, we're in Memphis, Tennessee tonight, FedEx Forum. Now, of course, tonight's Raw, very great Raw tonight. We have a couple matches added for Mania, including one that I knew was going to happen, but the stipulation that I think was going to happen, as you would see on the title of this video. Of course, we had a certain movement. The Yes movement, of course. We've heard of Occupy Wall Street. Now we have Occupy Wall happening tonight. That was kind of interesting. I'm not kidding. I've been wearing this Yes shirt all day. I've been wearing it in all my other videos today. And I just randomly pulled this out, not thinking anything of what was going to happen tonight. It was a pretty good wall. And I think, all the IWC smokes out there can finally shut the fuck up. I think they did, because there was no CM Punk chance tonight. I love CM Punk, but come on. You want to hijack Wall? They occupied Wall tonight. There was no Punk chance, because everybody's happy now. They should be happy now. I am happy now. We'll see what everybody else thinks. As a lot of matches were added for Mania tonight. No Hall of Fame was added, but decent. One night in Memphis. We would kick off with a new match made for Mania. Hulk Hogan, of course, the host of WrestleMania 30. Came out to begin Raw with a promised announcement about something to add at Mania. I was like thinking about what it was going to be, whether it was like maybe he was going to induct a Hall of Fame, maybe announce a new Hall of Fame member or a match. Well, I go on the social media pages and all that, and I was on Facebook. Of course, hello, I'm on a social media page, YouTube, and I go on Facebook like many others, and I go on this website, one of the pages. I love 90s wrestling or something. And they said something about they should be a battle royal at WrestleMania. Well, there is. Hulk Hogan's announcement was the announcement of the first ever, and I like this concept, the Andre the Giant 30-man over-the-top rope battle royal in honor of Andre the Giant, probably the best battle royal competitor in WWE history. Of course, WrestleMania 2, he won that battle royal with the WWE superstars and the NFL superstars. So, and they're going to get a statue of Andre. We got some names that are in it. Thus far, we got Biggie in it. Ryback's in it. We'll probably add more. Probably everybody who does have a match. Like Sandow. Felt bad for him being involved in that Yes Occupy segment, which I'll get to that. But probably get a lot more people. Ziggler. Probably going to be in the Battle Royal. And the man who wanted to be in the Battle Royal, John Cena, who would come out with Hulk Hogan. Because Hulk Hogan came out. And here comes the man who is faster than Rey Mysterio. More powerful than a Big Show. Able to bury careers and end pushes in a single bound. The most hated man in WWE. Hulk Hogan. Super Cena. Same thing. Because John Cena and Hulk Hogan kind of like equals. Because they're both like the biggest guys in WWE, and there's people who love them and people who hate them because they're sick of their characters. But Hulk Hogan's still beloved, and John Cena's still kind of loved. And Cena wanted a piece of the action. He wanted to be involved in this Battle Royal. And I was like, wait a minute. What does that mean for the possible match between him and Bray Wyatt? Well, just as soon as I said that, here comes the Bray Wyatt. Here comes the music and everything. And Bray Wyatt would come out with his family talking about how you have two of the biggest icons who live their own fantasies, the immortal Hulk Hogan and John Cena, saying that hope is dead and blah, 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 doing one of his famous riddles. And you may love or hate John Cena and his lame-ass jokes these days, but he was kind of funny tonight with the margarita references. God, is it just me or that John Cena and Bray Wyatt both reference old songs tonight? First, John Cena mentioned Margaritaville. And then later on, when Bray Wyatt did accept John Cena's challenge for WrestleMania, he mentioned the Rolling Stones' Time Is On My Side. Not singing it. Time is on my side. Yes, it is. Time is on my side. That was funny. They both referenced old songs. Bray from the 60s. And John Cena from the 70s, and a lot of kids are asking, who's Jimmy Buffett and who are the Rolling Stones? Anyway, that's what happens when we have a TV PG audience. You make those kind of references. And a Gentry's reference to Jimmy Hart's former band. Because Jimmy Hart was on the pre-show tonight. Anywho, as Bray Wyatt and Cena kind of talk smack, we were about to have a showdown, but ended up being the match that was scheduled. It was originally scheduled to be John Cena versus Harper. We even saw a graphic for that possible match when they were trying to download the WWE Network app on the iPod. We saw like a computer, Jerry King Law's laptop, there was a graphic for the supposed match between Cena and Harper. It was changed in the last minute to John Cena and Warren. What it calls Harper and Bray and Hulk Hogan at ringside, of course, representing their representatives. So, this match to begin with, Cena being in the first match, shocking. Well, it's the way WWE is going now. We don't want to see Cena anymore. We're sick of him. We're sick of him getting all the title shots. We want somebody new. And he may end up getting a title shot we all want. After all, we'll get to that. But anyway, Cena and Harper, his partner Warren. Ooh, well, it was something. You know, I've always said with the Wyatt family, they're just stiff and they're not athletic, they're not agile, they just stomp around and just punch and kick and just throw. They're like great collies. You know, they just beat up people. They don't strategically wrestle people. They're not like, you know, like very athletic when it comes to being like all that stuff, like athletic and agile and all that. Trying to think of new words, but I can't really think of this time. So, and Warren did always punching and kicking, just beating up on Cena midway towards the match, really dominating the match, destroying Super Cena. Until, of course, we make the miraculous comeback by getting that surprise roll-up as Harper was taking over. Cena, like I said, got the roll-up 1-2-3 victory. It was like a short match. I think they're trying to save up Cena because they know Cena got injured during his segment with the Wyatts 2 weeks ago. So they don't want to take any chance of Cena getting injured again between now and Mania. Because like I said, Bray Wyatt did accept the match. Cena did open challenge to Bray, and it's on. So Cena will not wrestle at the Battle Royal. Well, maybe. And Daniel Bryan could pull double duty. So could John Cena. So he could be in the Battle Royal still. And then wrestle later on in the evening, but we'll see. But till then, John Cena and Bray Wyatt is now official. It's now, you know, we've seen the build-up for weeks. And now it's official. Cena and Bray Wyatt is going to happen at Mania. So there you go. Now on our next matchup. We have, of course, Ryback Soul. Involving Ryback teaming up with, of course, Curtis Axel. Like I said, Ryback's in the Battle Royal. Maybe Curtis Axel will be in the Battle Royal as they took on the tag team champions, the new tag team champions, the Usos. Mike Rook needs a little work. Of course, the Masters of the Mike Rook, New Age Outlaws, who have still yet to redeem the rematch after pulling out of the scheduled rematch at main event last week. They were on commentary. As Ryback Soul was taking over, specifically Ryback and his muscular moves, was beating up on the Usos in this okay little decent tag team affair. As Ryback was using, like I said, his muscular strength to power out on one of the moves on the Axel, of course, being Jimmy coming in, being isolated, with Ryback and Axel trying to tag each other in, isolating the Uso in their corner to Jimmy, until, of course, he came flying back, and I mean literally flying back with some high-flying moves, with a big kick, and like the ending of the match against the Outlaws last week, one of them flew up, Jay flew up, over the top rope, high tagged his partner Jimmy, as he flew over the top and took air of Ryback outside the ring, big super kick to Axel, and of course, the big splash in the 1-2-3 victory for the Usos, looking good in this decent little tag team affair. Looking at the Outlaws, who still have the rematch. I would not be surprised if they decide to use that rematch at WrestleMania on the pre-show. Unless the Battle Royal is the pre-show. They didn't say specifically when the Andre the Giant Battle Royal will take place at Mania. They didn't say if it'll be on the main pay-per-view or will it be the pre-show. We'll probably find out specifically where that match will take place during Mania. Will be in a few weeks. So there you go. Now, on the next match, we had Jack Swagger taking on Big E. Of course, we saw it happen the last couple of weeks, especially last week with Jack Swagger and Antonio Cesaro or should I say, just Cesaro now, with the cracks on the show in the Real Americans, with them screwing each other out of matches with Big E last week. And now, here we go again with Big E taking on Jack Swagger. And I thought we were going to see a little screw job again with Cesaro kind of screwing Swagger again. We kind of did, as we would see, as Big E was using all of his big, muscular strength. You know, I like Big E as a face. You know, I've always said that. The Big E's a decent face. He's loved by the fans. Not as loved as Daniel Bryan, but still, Big E's a decent little face. You know, baby face. You know, baby face. Big E's a very good baby face. A lot of old song references tonight. Now I'm writing a Regis Philbin song. Anyway, as Big E was using his muscular move called Swagger in his strategic wrestling style, came flying back. So big moves. He was trying to go for the Swagger Bomb and a big belly suplex. And he was ready to set up for that Swagger Bomb. And also, eventually, the Swagger big move, besides Swagger Bomb, the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act. But of course, Saul was trying to interfere on the efforts of Swagger instead of interfering against Swagger. But as Saul was refusing to interfere for Jack instead of against him, Swagger got distracted and got knocked out by Big E and roll up 1-2-3 victory for Big E as once again for the second week in a row, unintentionally this time, or intentionally, whatever, Cesaro screwed Swagger again out of a match against Big E with the cracks on the show and the Real Americans. They even got each other to a fight again. They shoved each other. Even Zeb Coulter got involved. He took his jacket off. I thought he was going to slap both of them. But instead of hugging this week, they shook hands. Despite hesitation for both guys, they shook hands. But Cesaro held on to a grip. So I think these two are either going to wrestle at the Battle Royal, and the breakup will officially happen to Royal One at the Battle Royal at WrestleMania. Like, that's what could happen. Cesaro can eliminate Swagger at the Battle Royal at WrestleMania. That's what I think could be the ultimate send-off for this team to build up a possible feud between these two. Because I'm hearing they're going to push Cesaro really hard after WrestleMania. Which he deserves that push. The fans are starting to like him now. He's starting to get over with the fans a lot more now. So I think the possible big push for Cesaro is heading our way. So, there you go. Now, on the next segment. Pretty good segment involving The Undertaker. Of course, he came out. Big music and all. The lights went out. And Paul Heyman came flying down to the ring. Interrupting Taker as Taker was about to speak. Here comes the Paulus. Cuckoo Cachoo. Again with the old song references. A lot of them tonight. Anyway. Heyman came out saying, Taker, your legacy is already sealed. 21-0. The greatest streak in sports. The greatest streak in entertainment. The greatest streak in sports entertainment. That was funny. The way he said it that way. You should have just said, basically, the greatest streak in sports entertainment. Not just the greatest streak in sports, the greatest streak in entertainment, and the greatest streak in sports entertainment. You could have just saved 2 sentences and just say the last sentence, Paul. Love you, but anyway, he's like, Taker, you have your legacy of 21-0, but don't let that be 21-1 if you step in the ring with Brock Lesnar. I love the way Paul Heyman says Brock Lesnar's name. Well, he said it softly, but of course he went into the. He said it in the style we know, like Brock Lesnar. The way he said it. And you're going through the unknown, Undertaker. You've never wrestled Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. But that doesn't mean that Brock Lesnar hasn't wrestled WrestleMania it hasn't wrestled Undertaker, period. Brock and Undertaker have wrestled before. Of course, at No Mercy 2002, classic Hell in a Cell match between these two guys. But it is true, they never faced up at Mania. So we'll see how that goes. Then indeed, that Brock Lesnar wants to conquer the streak. He wants to eat, sleep, conquer the streak. But Taker's going to say that Brock Lesnar is going to eat, sleep, and rest in peace. So, it's going to be very intriguing to see this match happen at Mania. I don't think it's like really official, but like everyone knows it's going to be official soon when it comes to storyline wise. That Taker and Brock Lesnar is going to be official. So there you go. Taker and Lesnar feud continues. We didn't see Brock tonight, but we did see Heyman and Taker having a little promo showdown tonight. So there you go. Taker and Lesnar, rest in peace. And I like also the fact that Paul Heyman made a good point in his promo about all the guys who's had multiple streak wins at Mania, like Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, Triple H. All these guys had like 3 or 4 victories in a row at Mania, but never the amount of matches won in a row at Mania like Taker, the streak. Now, I said that the Real Americans have cracks showing in their teamwork. Another team with cracks being shown heading towards a possible breakup is the Shield. We saw that last week with Seth Rollins walking out in the tag team match, a 6-man tag between the Shield and the Wyatts. And we saw them breaking down on SmackDown, but Kane wanted to unite the Shield and have Reigns and Rollins get rid of that demon. That apparently Kane thinks that this whole thing with the Shield breaking down started after Rollins and Reigns lost their tag team championships back in October at the pay-per-view in October, Payback, when they lost the titles to Cody Rhodes and Goldust. Well, they want to get rid of that demon, as Cody Rhodes and Goldust would take on Reigns and Rollins. And these two guys have had great matches in the past, and this was no exception. Great teamwork from both these teams. Because Cody Rhodes and Goldust trying to reclaim their former glory as they try to get back to the tag team title. Same with Reigns and Rollins. Of course, Ambrose has his title, which he hasn't defended in a while. Well, he'll defend it tomorrow night against Mark Henry in a rematch from a few weeks ago on Raw, when Mark Henry was very close to beating Ambrose for the U.S. Championship, but the rest of the Shield interfered. So as Rhodes and Goldust look very good, but of course the Shield does what they do best. They get back in the game despite being down. And of course, Rollins, I love Roman Reigns, but Seth Rollins is the architect of the Shield. He's been breaking out a lot lately. His great performance at the match at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view against the Shield. And once again, Rollins is looking very good, and he could be a great breakout star in the future when he, in the Shield, will eventually break up down the line. They will break up. They are a dominant force. And they have been a dominant force. But I want to see these three go their separate ways. And be successful as singles wrestlers. Which is looking like it's going to happen, despite their signs of unity, despite all these signs of strain and strife in the group. So anyway, some great, I like the big finishes, especially the ending. Reigns came in as Goldust and Cody Rhodes trying to get the match going again, and Reigns had a big spear on Goldust, taking him out of the match. And Cody Rhodes was going for his big finish. He was first going for crossroads on Seth Rollins, but Seth Rollins countered that to a big move. To like a big punch in the clothesline. But then Cody Rhodes was going again for his other big move, the disaster kick. He got caught in midair by Rollins, set up for a powerbomb, and then did his big stomp move. And the 1-2-3 victory for Rollins and Reigns. And a decent little tag team match between these two guys. Very, very good action for both these teams. Some decent spots in this match, especially the ending with Reigns spearing Goldust, and of course Rollins thwarting the disaster kick and crossroads, ending up with that big stomp. So there you go. Shield looks like they're back in the game, and Ambrose didn't interfere much, but still. Shield looks like they're temporarily back in the saddle when it comes to being a team. But the cracks all still on the show, but we'll see how long it'll take for it to finally culminate to the breakup. Now on to the next matchup, the Bella Twins. Of course, Brie and Nikki taking on AJ and Tamina. Of course, AJ will defend the Divas Championship tomorrow night on main event against Natalya. Of course, on the WWE Network. Of course, since Naomi's still out, and I think they were pushing towards Naomi facing off against AJ in WrestleMania. But since Naomi's out with her eye injury after that match against Oksana, the injury being worse than expected, they're probably scrambling for Natalya to win the title. I would love to see Natalya be Divas Champ again. I would love that. Natalia's not been pushed a lot lately. I would love to see Natalya back in the saddle again. She was on commentary. As AJ and Tamina would take on against the Beltrons in a decent, typical, okay Divas tag team affair. Tamina being a big muscle until, of course, Beltrons came flying back. I did like Nikki's move at the end. There's Brie got big kicks, like 2 big kicks from Tamina during the matchup. As Tamina and AJ was just throwing the weight around, specifically Tamina's weight around. And as AJ had Nikki where she wanted her, after the damage done by Tamina on both fellas, AJ was going for the best submission move in the Divas division besides the Emma-Lock. Of course, the Black Widow. But Nikki countered it into her whack attack. Well, I'm called the Zack attack. DJ Zack attack. Yeah, the whack attack. I like that move, though. That's the only thing good about the Beltrons. Their finishing move and a 1-2-3 victory for the Beltrons as Nikki pinned the Divas champion. Could be a sign that the longest title reign in the Divas division could come to an end tomorrow night against Natalya. And I love when Natalya was on the commentary and she kind of referenced 2 phrases from her relatives. She mentioned, enough is enough, and it's time for a change from Owen. And her dad's phrase from a Owen in Your House pay-per-view. We're going to wine and dine and we're going to forget our manners. Of course, her dad, Jim the Anvil Nighthawk. So it's cool to hear her say those references. A lot of old references, old song references and even old wrestler phrase references. That was kind of fun to see that tonight. Great to see that. So Beltrons get the victory over the Divas champion. Now on to the best segment of all, involving Daniel Bryan and the Yes Movement. Of course, Stephanie McMahon and Triple H came out earlier in the show and demanded that Daniel Bryan apologized for his actions last week, especially when he kicked Triple H in the head, setting up for the pedigree to hype up their feud even more at the end of last week's Raw. Of course, there was one word that D. Bryan said about giving an apology. No! 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 But, like I said in the beginning of this video, we've seen Occupy Wall Street, Occupy Central Park, and all these Occupy movements, even though it was a few years old. Speaking of old references. But we have Occupy Raw tonight. So, we would see D. Bryan having a bunch of fans in the ring, surrounding the ring and just saying yes. They say they're not going to leave the ring until Triple H finally accepts D. Bryan's challenge at WrestleMania for their match that no one wants to see because they all want to see D. Bryan the main event at WrestleMania. Now, I had given up on D. Bryan being involved in the main event of WrestleMania. I want him in the main event. I think a lot of people would agree with me that we all would like to see D. Bryan in the main event of WrestleMania, to make the main event, and try to find some way to insert Daniel Bryan in the main event of Mania to make it a triple threat between him, Batista, and Randy Orton. I was like thinking I was losing a hope in that. I had accepted that wasn't going to happen, that it was going to be Daniel Bryan and Triple H at WrestleMania. And I even predicted that if D. Bryan was in the main event of Mania, that D. Bryan would win the title the next night on the War After Mania in New Orleans. Well, D. Bryan may be in the main event of Mania after all. And this whole Yes Movement Occupy Wall segment was just excellent. You can tell Triple H's face. In Stephanie's face, too. She's like, get out of my way now! The way she was just, this shit's getting personal. With the fans getting in there, surrounding the ring. Even Sign Guy was in the ring. Wick, the backwood baseball cap, that was a great spot. Like I said, it was just intense. Proving that indeed the Yes Movement isn't just some fluke or a fad. That the fans want D. Bryan to succeed. So Triple H, being, of course, kind of forced to accept this because D. Bryan was occupying Wall. We even saw Sandow trying to get in the ring. Nice to see Sandow on Wall. Too bad he couldn't wrestle because he wasn't going to get in with all these yes people in the ring because they wouldn't move. And of course, Triple H had to relent and finally say yes, yes, yes to Daniel Bryan's challenge at WrestleMania. Now, the added stipulation made a lot of people happy, including me. It may finally shut up the IWC. that if Daniel Bryan wins the match against Triple H at Mania, he will be added to the main event at WrestleMania. He'll be added to the championship match between Batista and Randy Orton. That it will be a triple threat match. Yes, yes, yes. I'm happy. Like I said, I had given up all hope on that happening. I know a lot of fans were holding out on trying to find some way of WWE finding a way to insert D. Bryan in the main event. Well, they finally found a way to finally get him in the main event with him winning the match against Triple H. And if he does, he'll be added to that main event. D. Bryan added to the main event of WrestleMania. That'll shut him up for a minute. That's when you hear they CM Punk chants tonight. Because finally, the fans, nobody finally listened to the fans. Finally, after all this time, it took them a lot of time, but they finally found a way to get D. Bryan in the main event of WrestleMania. Finally. That they're going to add him in if he wins against Triple H. Which is likely, hopefully, in many people's eyes, in mine too, will happen. So much my prediction. I've been wrong on my predictions lately, but I am right. I'm happy to be wrong on my prediction of D. Bryan winning the title of the Raw after Mania. I'm happy to be wrong. Because I'm happy to see D. Bryan could be finally added to the championship match at Mania. As long as he beats the Game. It's the GOAT versus the Game at WrestleMania. Now, after that shenanigan, on with our next matchup. Christian and Sheamus. Again? Come on, guys. We've seen this match last week was kind of like last 3 weeks in a row we've seen this match on Raw. Last week was a snore fest. This is a feud that doesn't end. It will go on and on, my friend. WWE, this feud makes me want to take a nap. This feud is so bad they had to make the fans vote on the WWE app to make a stipulation for this match. It's like watching Chavo and Hornswoggle every week. We just get tired of it. But, despite of what I just said, I'm happy that I and the rest of the fans voted for the Memphis Street Fight stipulation. Because I knew that Memphis Street Fight was going to make the match better. Because I think WWE was like, listen, Christian and Sheamus, you bored the hell out of Chicago last week. Everyone hated the match. You bored them to death. You bored our viewers at home to death. You made them change the channel. Don't make them change the channel tonight. Fight tonight. Always Dana White was like that with his fighters at UFC when they bored the fans. Anyway, and Christian and Sheamus deliver. Great street fight between these two. There's some great spots in this match. The Tornado DDT on the outside of the ring, with both guys taken out. And I love the use of weapons, especially the candlestick. God, Christian just whammed the hell out of that candlestick to Sheamus. And the welt on his back. Because Sheamus is so palely white, you could see the welt on his back. And then, of course, turnaround was fair play. Christian got his ass beat by the candlestick as well. And, of course, the master of the TLC match, Christian, would bring out chairs. Actually, Sheamus would bring out chairs. It would be used against him as Christian did a flunk splash up the top rope with the two chairs stuck to Sheamus' chest. We wanted tables. We didn't get tables. We had drums! I was like, use the drums. They did use guitars, which was, we saw some acoustic guitars out there, because this is Memphis after all. The home of the blues. Of course, Nashville's a home of country, and we did see a Nashville street fight once with Dolph Ziggler and Damian Sandow with the drum spot. And I was hoping they would use the drums, which they did, as the ending. Now, I kind of saw the spot of the ending. I kind of saw that spot coming. It was a fun match. Better than the match last week. They had to step it up again. And I hope this feud ends, though. So, Christian grabbed the bass drum. Actually, Sheamus grabbed the bass drum first. And he stuck it underneath the corner. But then Christian would grab it. And I kind of saw the spot coming. That Christian was going to come in with the bass drum. Straight to his face. Sheamus was going to walk up in front of him. And punch him through the bass drum. And end the match. Well, it was kind of like that, but instead of the face being punched through the bass drum, it was the bro kick. That was probably my favorite bro kick from Sheamus. Christian basically walked into it, and I knew that spot was going to happen with him getting either kicked through the bone, kicked through the drum head, or punched through it. It was kicked. Christian just, with the drum up to his face, walked up to Sheamus, bang! Big bro kick through the bass drum, 1-2-3 victory for Sheamus. Great ending spot to his great street fight, making up for the shitty-ass, boring match last week. But let's just hope they don't wrestle again next week. This is ended already, guys. A street fight or some sort of stipulation match ends a feud every time. And let this be the case. So there you go. Now on the main event. Of course, Daniel Bryan teaming up with Big Show against Batista and Randy Orton. The announcers have never referenced Batista. They've never mentioned it until tonight. Jerry Lawler started. He's like, we got this whole Batista thing. Wow. Cannot believe this whole Batista thing has got so big that the announcers are now mentioning it. Listen, talk all you want about Batista. You know, I liked it when he was in his prime. And Batista looked okay tonight. And actually, he and Orton got along pretty well in this matchup. They actually teamed up pretty well despite being opponents. But of course, what brings enemies together is to attack a common enemy. You know, people who hate each other, they can say all they want, they can hate each other all they want, but they can agree on one thing. They hate the same guy, Daniel Bryan. They want to take him out. After, of course, having the chance to be inserted into the main event, especially Batista. But hey, the fans wanted it this way. I wanted it this way. You know, I would have loved to have seen Batista as a face. You know, like the whole build-up for Batista to be face against Orton. You know what, the Evolution thing would have been great. But the SMARC fans, the IWC fans, I could be included in this, kind of ruined it. But hey, Batista's making the best out of this bad situation. You know, but hey, we want Daniel Bryan, not Batista. Sorry. You know, one place, one time, Batista. But anyway, Batista and Orton, like I said, despite their hatred for each other, and of course, facing off against each other at Mania as a one-on-one match for now until D-Bryan wins at Mania. It makes it a triple threat, as we all hope, against Triple H. And D-Bryan did start the match flying. But of course, Batista and Orton, great team. I'll give them credit. They were a decent team. But Batista looked okay tonight. I think it's the best I've seen him since he came back. You know? And that's for Batista, you know? As Batista was taking care of D-Bryan, it really pumping him. Of course, punishing him for, of course, all he's been doing, the authority, blah, 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 blah. Of course, D-Bryan came flying back, tagging in his button in the Big Show to come in to do all the heavy work. You know, okay, decent tag team matchup between these two teams. And of course, the Big Show's knee was being targeted by Batista, going for a big move. Batista speared the hell out of Big Show. But then indeed, Big Show, I would like to see Batista try to Batista bomb Big Show. Cena can F you, Big Show. Batista could Batista bomb Big Show, but of course D-Bryan would come in. And I think like I like one spot when Batista went for a big move, went for a pinfall, then D-Bryan countered to the yes lock. That was a great move there. But of course, after Big Show got taken out, especially when Batista's going for a spear on D-Bryan, but then D-Bryan ducked and Batista speared Orton instead. And Orton would eventually take care of Big Show by RKO on Big Show. So it would be Orton and the Big Show out, and D-Bryan was left against the legal man, which would be Orton. So then D-Bryan, of course, came flying back with some big moves. Of course, going for the big splash. He did miss a big splash from the top of his big flying headbutt. But then, indeed, as D-Bryan was flying back, Orton threw him against the turnbuckles. And it looked like vintage Orton, as Orton would indeed take care of that, take advantage of the situation and put D-Bryan, the Hangman's DDT, vintage Orton, as Michael Cole would say, setting up for the RKO. But then Big Show took care of Batista from interfering, and Randy Orton got the big knee. Running knee from D-Bryan in the 1, 2, 3 victory for Daniel Bryan. Could this be the site of WrestleMania? Could D-Bryan pin Randy Orton at WrestleMania if he ends up beating Triple H and gets inserted in the main event? Is this a sign of things to come? I hope so. I don't want WrestleMania to end with everyone booing Randy Orton or Batista winning. I think WWE wants to end, and this could be the perfect Mania ending. And I know we all want to see this. That I would love to see WrestleMania end with 80,000 people at the Louisiana Mercedes-Benz Superdome. 80,000 people going like this in celebration of D-Prime winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I did not think that WWE was gonna find a way to put D-Prime in the main event. I was losing all hope in it. I think a lot of fans were losing hope about D-Prime being inserted. I know some fans was holding out, but now we all happy that WWE finally listened to the fans. They're gonna try to find a way to get D-Prime in the main event of WrestleMania. I'm happy they're gonna at least give us an opportunity to give him the opportunity to be in it, as he would face Triple H at Mania for the opportunity to be in that main event. So we got that match official, Cena and Bray Wyatt official, Under the Giant Battle Royal made. And we saw Alexander Rusev again do the same thing he did last week. Speak on his pedestal, then leave. Then wrestle. Maybe Rusev will be in that Battle Royal as well. There's it for my Raw review for the evening. Thank you all very much for watching. With that in mind, you've all been attacked by the review from Zach. Thank you very much. Yes! Yes! Yes!